it's Pam from Style Crafts by Pam, and this past weekend I went to the Stamp and Scrapbook Expo in Somerset, New Jersey. I wanted to go ahead and share with you my experience and my review of some of the classes, as well as some purchases that I was able to make and some deals that I got. This is the show guide for this year, and again this year they were doing their keepsake button program. I had done this last year and I got my first I Conquered medallion for getting, I think it was 4 buttons. What I have done since then is I've kind of combined like my 2014, my 2015 buttons from last year, as well as some buttons from CKC and some other little buttons that I have collected. So that is all in there, and I wore that the first day. And then later on in the day, I was able to get the medallion again, and this time I actually did it without spending any money. The last 2 times they had the buttons, I got the I shopped, which meant that I spent $150, and this time I didn't spend $150. I think I was like $20 off, and really I wasn't going to spend another extra $20 just so I could get that button. The buttons that I'd gotten is I returned because I'd gone last year and I had my medallion to show that. I learned because I took 4 classes. All you have to do is take 1 to get that. I went to the Creativity Center and did a little activity there. I also picked up one of their memento buttons that says Somerset, New Jersey 2016. It has a Stamp and Scrapbook Expo logo in the corner. And I also did I Swapped, which is a new one for this year. And this is for taking the card swap class, which I also took last year, but they didn't have this button last year. So with just these 4, I was able to get the medallion, and then he actually included this as a 5th button. So even if you didn't have all of these, they might consider the limited edition buttons if you purchase those as your buttons. So I ended up getting that, so I have that memento from this year. And I ended up going on Friday and Saturday. On Friday, I was able to do the early bird thing and take advantage of like 1 or 2 deals that they had during that time. I had 3 classes on that day as well. On Saturday, they had the golden ticket thing, and I was just really tired. I didn't feel like getting up for it. They had some crop parties, a make and take extravaganza. I didn't participate in any of those. I might in the future. And they had the floor plan, so you know where all of the vendors are, and it reminds you that you can get the iShop button if you spend $150. There's a list of all the make and takes, so they tell you whether they're free or if you had to pay money for them. So I kind of used this to map out, you know, which make and takes I wanted to go to. So this was one of the ones I went to, which was Fun Stamper's Journey. And they also have this Creativity Center and showed the companies that were sponsoring this and reminding you can get the I Create button for doing an activity there for free. You don't find out until the day of the expo where your classes are going to be, but basically at the Somerset location, they're all at the hotel, with the exception of the Heartfelt Creations classes, which were held at the convention center where the shopping was. Some people had an issue with that. It can be a little exhausting to go back and forth depending on how you work it. I mean, one year you might decide you're going to just do all classes, or you're going to do back-to-back classes on, like, say Friday, and then go back Saturday and do all your shopping. That's something I might do in the future. They talked about this Facebook group, so they had a Facebook group for the Somerset, New Jersey location. So I have been on that group for a while. I actually met another girl through this group. She just happened to recognize my face, and I recognized her face from being one of the first people online with me last year. It's kind of cool to kind of meet some people there. So I highly recommend that if you are going to the expo. But that's pretty much the show guide. They have a swag bag that they give to you. If you did get 3 or more classes, you got a free gift, and this is what their free gift was this year. Last year it was a album, which I ended up getting rid of. I didn't need it. And this is just like a little tote, and it actually says Stamp and Scrapbook Expo on it. But it's basically just a little case that you can put some like 12 by 12 paper in, and it has a handle. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with this quite yet. I might take it in the future to put like all my make and takes in it, or any projects that I created from classes to kind of keep them secure and protected. Alright, so I'm going to go through my classes first. So the first class that I took was the card swap, which I had also done last year, and I wanted to do it again this year because one, last year I didn't really put much effort into my card, and this year I wanted to put a little bit more effort and, you know, see what people thought. Whenever you do these card swaps, you get this little keepsake tote, and basically what you do is they give you a name tag, and you put your name tag up at your area, and you put the card that you want to be judged on the side, as well as your extras for people to pick out and take. The card that I created is this little shaker card, and the shaker contents don't move around too much, but just enough to get the point across. And I actually did a lot of techniques with this. I don't know if a lot of people saw that or realized that, but I used distress ink in the background for the clouds and did some masking to make it look like clouds. I stamped the Avery Owl stamp set. I forget what it was called, but it was their unicorn stamp set. So I stamped that out and I colored them in with my Zig markers. And there's some glitter on the hair for the unicorn as well as the cloud. I used some Wink of Stella, gold Wink of Stella for the horn, and I heat embossed the sentiment. I also put inside some sequins. They're heart and star sequins. They're kind of iridescent looking, that were from a Simon Says Stamp card kit that I got a while ago. And I also finished off with some Pretty Pink Posh sequins. I used a border die from, I believe, My Favorite Things, and I also did a light blue background to go along with the whole theme of like the blue and purple. At least this year I got 2 votes. I got 2 tickets. One of them was from my friend Jess, who is also a fellow YouTuber here, and I finally got to meet her there at the expo, and then another person as well had voted. Also, all of my cards were gone. Last year I had maybe like 5 leftovers. There were a lot of great cards there. Once we judged, you know, which one we thought was the most appreciated is what they called it, we grabbed the cards that we wanted, so we were able to take 15 of them. This is one of the cards. This was from a lady that was sitting next to me, and it's kind of hard to see, but there's a sentiment here that says birthday wish. There is this card, there's little flowers, and they added some glitter. This one I think was from a pile of cards from other expos. It was simple, but I thought it was really pretty, and I like the colors. And then on the inside it says wishing you the very best of birthdays, and that's a really pretty sentiment. I like the cupcakes. Here's another one. This had a nice sheen to both the card and the envelope, and this just has some cupcake die cuts and then birthday girl. This one I really liked. I liked the combination of the colors because, you know, I'm a fan of purple and blue, and I love the watercolor effect and how they use a simple die to cut out this bird, and it's pretty simple, but it's very nice looking. It says let your dreams take flight. I love the addition of the little blue sequin. It matches perfectly. She had a few others. This is, it's by Rachel, and it says happy birthday on the inside. This was the one I picked out because of the purple and blue colors. This one was kind of neat. She explained to us how she collects cans and she die cuts from them to create die cuts to use for her cards. So for this, she did it for her son. I think she said it was like a Ranger or Tim Holtz die. So she cut out the guitar, and then she embossed the background with a happy birthday embossing folder. And then the inside says music is the voice of the soul. So that was a pretty cool technique that everyone seemed kind of interested in doing. This was another card I picked up. I'm not sure if this was in the pile of cards or if this was from somebody there. This one says don't worry, be happy. Everything is going to be all right. I appreciated the coloring on this because that definitely took some time to sit there and color, and if she made 15 of them, I know that that took time. So I thought this was very cute. This is another one, and I really thought the background paper was nice, and I like the glitter effect that it has. She did a simple bow and some matching sequins, make a wish, and then she did a little feather on the inside to match. This one I thought was a neat stamp set. It says you make my heart flutter. Again, very simple. She just did a die cut that makes up the layout of the card. She has some rhinestones, and then she stamped this dragonfly with the sentiment and added some Wink of Stella or some type of glitter to the wings. And it looks like the inside says fluttering by to say hi. She also stamped on the envelope to make it match. I thought this one was pretty with the little layered die cuts to make it 3-dimensional, and then the addition of the sequins I thought was very nice. And then she used an embossing folder, and this is some type of shimmer paper. This one is from Kevin Devine, and I actually recognized him from last year, and I found his YouTube channel. This is the card he created. He did some embossing here, created a flower, and then he also included a little recipe card that tells what products he used and his YouTube information. This one I know is one of those Ranger stamp sets, and I thought that was pretty cool. I haven't seen it in person, but I've seen it online, and so this is the first time seeing somebody use it. So I thought that was pretty neat, so I went ahead and picked that up. This one is the one that actually won as the most appreciated, and I guess it was because of the effort she did with the sewing of the birthday here, and then she did folding here to create this flower looking thing. That obviously took a lot of effort as well. This one is actually from my friend Jess on YouTube, so we kind of coordinated so that we would be taking the same card swap class, and so once I got over to her spot where she had her cards, this was the last one she had. She did a variety of cards, so I snatched it up before anyone else could get it, and I love these little guys. They're so cute. I love that she included little googly eyes. And this is actually the last card. This was the one that I voted for because I thought there was a lot going on with this. It obviously took some planning. There's some journaling cards, there is some rhinestones, a little paperclip embellishment, little tag embellishments, little flower. The button in the middle is a brad, and it looks like she might have done some distressing with some distress inks to give this library card and vintage type look to it, as well as on this tag here. And she had a few different ones of this card. She had like a few different colors, and I like the pink one, so I went ahead and I picked that up. So that was really cool to kind of see, you know, what types of techniques other people are using in their cards. Also with that class, we got the Card Maker magazine for summer 2016. We also got this Authentique Freedom paper pack. So it has a bunch of papers, and then there's some alpha stickers and other stickers that you can use. They also gave us this little pack of goodies that was donated by some of the sponsors. They also gave us a Crazy Creations card kit, and they'd advertised for the card swap that you would be getting an extra additional project from Crazy Creations. This includes the supplies to make one card, and then you have to color in the owls. Last year they gave a Stampin' Up project kit, which I think was retired when they gave it to us, but it still had enough supplies to make like 15 cards, had a stamp set, had an ink, you know, had all the envelopes to go with the cards and so forth. I thought that was a little bit better to have, but I guess because of all these other little giveaways they gave us, they were doing that to kind of compensate for the fact that this was just like one little card. But it's cute, so I will be making that. And then they had a few giveaways just for fun, and so I won a few things. I got these blue dots, which I can always use. Another little stamp set. They also included some sparkle and sprinkle glitter, and this is the water skate. So that's pretty much everything for the card swap. Alright, the next class I took was Blending Like a Pro from Nicole Pearson Designs. I've just recently started getting more into distress inks, and I've collected a few more. So basically this class was to give you some ideas of different blending techniques you can do with distress inks, give you some color combination ideas. Basically we got these papers, and she walked us through doing some blending. The idea is to put the recipe on the back for the different colors to use, and this is a photocopy of what it should look like. I think the colors were kind of messed up on this one because this is more gray rather than brown. This one she called Vintage Love. This one is Tequila Sunrise. This one is Starry Night. This one is Bahama Breeze, and we use this with a stencil, a different one from the picture, and we used a little glaze by Ranger to get the parts of the stencil to the colors to stay, so that when you did the blending around the rest of the paper, those pieces that had previously been blended would not blend with the new colors. So that was an interesting technique. And then the last one is Grassy Meadow. Again, like the picture came out a little bit different, or maybe just I didn't use enough color to get that look. I thought that was kind of neat. And then we also got a round blending tool. The next one I took is a beginner's guide to calligraphy. And honestly, I kind of breezed through this just because I took half a year or a year of calligraphy in high school. I took this class just kind of brushed up on my calligraphy because I really don't remember remember a lot of it, but as I was doing some of the techniques that she introduced us to, some of those things kind of came back to me. You can see here, this is my practice. These are the letters she provided for us. It was neat to kind of get back into the concept of doing calligraphy. This was the pen that she gave us. This is a Zig calligraphy pen, and there's two sides to it. You can see here there's a flat side, and then you turn it to the side and it's kind of thin. And this is a pure black color. And then towards the end, she did some giveaways, and I won this Deco Color calligraphy pen, and you can see I did a few examples here using that silver pen, so I thought that was a kind of cool effect too. The last class that I took was called multi-stamp stamping. There really wasn't even enough time to practice or even finish the cards we were supposed to be making, and this class was done by Just Right Papercraft, which is who did the classes I took at CKC as well. You get this little handout, it's a color handout, and explains all the directions for the cards that you're making and gives you kind of some tips and tricks. So this is the stamp set that we got in class. This little tip sheet goes along with this to help you with layering the images correctly. And it did take some practice to get it right. I was using my MISTI, some others weren't. I don't know how they did without using the MISTI, but I could not see doing this without using my MISTI. A lot of the time in class was dedicated to practicing. So the only thing I really got through was stamping onto these little die cut flowers that they die cut previously for us, included in our kit. Here's my practice papers. This one just got a little smudge. This is what I did with my practice before I actually did it on my card, and there's supposed to be more to the card. Some people got further, but I wanted to really be able to practice everything before actually stamping right onto my card, so that's why I didn't get to finish. I think in the future it might be nicer to just focus on one card and, you know, spend half the class practicing and then the other half completing the card. Spent most of my time just practicing and knew I would just go ahead and finish them at home and use some of my own sentiment stamps to finish them off, which is fine. With the class, you got a coupon to get one of their stamp sets. Because this was focused on multi-step stamping, I decided to get a multi-step stamp set to give me some more practice with it. I picked up this lilac bouquet one, and this was $5 more than what the coupon covered, so I just paid the $5 extra to get this bigger set. And there is a printout online to assist with the stamping of this, just like this one. That is it for my classes. Now we're moving on to my purchases. So the first purchase I made was at Sparkle and Sprinkle. For the first like 50 customers who spent $25, you got a free little goodie bag sample. So I try to just kind of pick up a few things that I might be interested in getting. I was kind of rushing as well. But I picked up this silver lightning embossing powder. I believe I might have some silver, but I do not have it with this kind of iridescent sparkles inside of it. So I went ahead and got that. I picked up some glow-in-the-dark embossing powder because I know I do not have any of that, and with Halloween coming up, that might be cool to play around with. And then I also got this Copper Dreams embossing powder, which I know I do not have anything in copper. I'm interested to see if it's going to come out like sparkly or if it's going to be more of a matte finish. They had samples up on the wall just above their embossing powders and glitter, but because I was rushing, I didn't really look at it too much. Also, to complete my purchase, I picked up some glues. I picked up their brushable glue, and I picked up their dimensional glue, which they often use in their demonstrations, so I thought that would be neat to try out. And then I saw one of these, and it is an ornament glue, and they showed an example, like clear little ornament, and basically you pour this glue inside the ornament and then make sure it covers the entire inside, and then you pour in your glitter and pour out the excess and you can make a little ornament. And the reason I wanted that is because I got these little glass ornaments from Michael's when they were doing a clearance sale during Christmas. I think they ended up being like $1 or $1.50 each for 6. This I thought would be great to use with these ornaments. And then I was able to get the little sample pack, and I don't know if they were all the same. She kind of just grabbed from a box that had them all in there. This This sample includes some one-of-a-kind embossing powder, and it just looks like it has a bunch of different colors, like some reds and greens. There's some white flakes in here, so that'll be interesting to see what that comes out to look like. And then there is some seafoam embossing powder, which I do not have any in this color. I really don't have a bunch of colors in embossing powders. I have them like in your basic like neutral colors. And then there was a little happy stamp in there as well. Another purchase I made was from rubbernecker.com, and since I took the CKC class on the gilding shimmer flakes, and I purchased this autumn leaves, shimmer flakes, the glue, and everything I need to use it, I needed to get a red rubber stamp because they said it's best to use with red rubber stamps rather than clear, like it can kind of ruin the clear. So I wanted to get a stamp that's kind of just specifically for using with that autumn leaves gilding flakes. So I finally found one. It took me a while. I looked all around CKC, looked all around Scrapbook Expo, and finally came across this one with the leaves and the branches. I will be sharing that technique soon in a review video. I also stopped by Crazy Creations just because the last time I was at the expo, I took their watercoloring Zig marker class, and I really liked it, and I got a cool little kit to continue the watercoloring with. So I picked up the only watercolor kit they had this time. Last time it was a peacock kit, and this time it is this beautiful roses kit. So this is for use with the Zig markers, using their little outline stickers. I will be doing that, and I may share that online. And for some reason it does not list the brush pens that were used. So because they are flowers, I'm probably just going to come up with my own little combination to make it more unique to me. And then they also include this coupon code. It is to receive free shipping. So if you go on crazycreationstudio.com, you use SSB E-NJ16, you can get free shipping on your next purchase. Another place that I stopped by was a Close to My Heart booth. One of the directors, Tanya, was running that booth. When I created my card for the card swap, I used these little flip flaps to create the shaker portion of my card. So I completely ran out of them. I wanted to stop by this booth to pick up some more. Picked up 2 of them. I also picked up the annual inspiration catalog that just came out, as well as the holiday expressions catalog that's coming out next month. Lastly, I got this paper pack called Happy Times, and this was like a limited edition paper pack that they had going on, I think for paper crafting month or something like that. And I thought the colors and designs in this were really pretty, and at that time I was like, oh, I wish I could have made an order with Close to My Heart, but I didn't. But I still was able to get it. I just think all these papers are really pretty. And then this also comes with foiled paper. So this is really what caught my eyes. This flower paper with the gold foil, a stripe paper with the gold foil. I went to another booth and they kind of just had some random things. They had Lawn Fawn, Mama Elephant, Doodlebug, they had paper packs, they had dies, they had stamps, they had all sorts of stuff. So they had these little paper packs that say they're a $15 value, and they were $5. And they include 8 12x12 sheets plus a sticker sheet. And the 12x12 version papers, I normally get 6x6. I do not have this in 6x6, but this one was cool because it has little die cuts, there's a glitter finish on some of the papers, and there's a velvet finish on some of the papers. So what I'll probably do is cut these up into 6x6 and then just put them with my 6x6 papers. Since Christmas is coming up, I felt it was appropriate to go ahead and get that. And then this one also caught my eye. This is the fall assortment. This was the Christmas assortment, so this was also $5. And same thing, the 12x12 includes velvet finish, glitter finish, some more velvet finish, and it includes a sticker sheet. And here you can see a little bit of the glitter. There you go. So again, I'll probably cut this down into 6x6. I really love the colors on this specific paper. That's what caught my eye. I went ahead and got that, and plus there was a 10% off coupon. I just made it in line, so of course they, accepted it. It was like by 11 o'clock you had to make your purchase, so I got 10% off of that as well. I stopped by the Creativity Center so I could get my button. I ended up giving the make and take to somebody else for them to create because it was like some type of scrapbook, and I'm not into that. Jess and I were kind of hanging out at the Scrapbook Expo, so we decided to go over to the Fun Stampers Journey make and take because she knew from last year that they give away a stamp set, so I thought that would be worthwhile. And we only had a little bit of time before my next class started and I had to go. So this is basically just like a little tag, and we stayed around long enough to stamp out the little sentiment and stamp out this pigeon, maybe? Stamp out the bird and then die cut it. Basically, they're a company like close to my heart in Stampin' Up. So they spent the majority of the time at the very beginning of the make and take explaining their company and, you know, their parties and stuff like that. I just wanted to make the make and take. So once we got our make and take supplies and did what we needed to do to make it at home, and we got this stamp, we left. This says enjoy the journey, and it has Richard Gary, who is the founder of Fun Stamper's Journey. And then there's like a little ink splotch there. That's a separate stamp. This was completely free, just for stopping by and doing the make and take. So I thought that was pretty cool. It was really cool to just meet up with some friends this time, so I wasn't, you know, just walking around alone the whole time. I will be going again next year. So anyways, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to see more.